Jack it up.
A very good evening to one and all present here. On behalf of PDPU Innovation and Incubation Center, I, Charvi Patel, intern PDPU IIC, would like to welcome all the attendees and the faculty members to today's webinar on the art of creative thinking. Our esteemed speaker for the session is Mr. Rohan Shah. Mr. Rohan Shah is the founder and CEO of Hedweeg Innovations Private Limited, a design and future thinking consulting firm. He is also the founder of the Avent Company as well as the co-founder and director of Whitewood. He is an entrepreneur and a certified SAP Solution Architect and is a spearhead in IT and process improvement consulting who has provided IT solutions for Fortune 500 clients. Mr. Shah conducts design thinking workshops and provides strategic consulting to different industries. We are honored to have you with us, sir. I would like to ask everyone to stay on mute, and if they have any questions, they can drop them in the chat box. Without any further ado, I would like to ask sir to take over. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you, Charvi. Thank you for the very formal introduction. But anyways, thank you. Okay, perfect. So let's begin. But before we begin, I just wanted to request everyone, just in case anyone, if you are using your phone for the Zoom, I request if it's possible, shift to computer, because I might have you do some. I wanted to have very interactive activities, and I have planned something where you might need your phone separately. So this is just a recommendation. If you can able to handle it both together, it's up to you. Okay. So before we begin, let's hold on. Let me share my screen. Okay, I cannot share my screen. Can you check that? I cannot share my screen. Can you check that?
Please check now.
I can only share a few. Let's see. Menti.com. Okay, go to www.menti.com and put this code 5538967. Okay, and answer the questions. Do you think you are creative? Okay, let's see how many of you feel that they are really creative.
Sir, can you please once again repeat the site?
Okay, go to menti.com. It's already there on the screen. Just check the screen, which I'm sharing it. It says go to menti.com and use the code 5538967. Its code is already given, and see, one person has already answered. Okay, just answer the question. It's already there. You just have to put it. Okay, let's see. We have 54 people, so at least I'm expecting people will answer 9. All right, a lot of people are creative. 6, I don't know. 1, no. Okay. Let's see how many of you are creative. Looking at the current situation, I really thought of being creative and use the Donald Trump. It's like, okay, why don't we use him? Okay, I have 4 answers. Okay, we'll use 1 more minute to answer, and then we'll directly switch to the conversation. Okay. Okay, so I think we have around a lot of people who feels that they are creative, and a lot of people they don't know, and 3 people who are feeling that they are not creative. Let's see. So let me talk about the creativity a little bit. Okay, creativity will always be in demand because future will always be different from the present. And present in which we are very comfortable, we always be faced with the problems, we always be faced with a lot of opportunities which we couldn't anticipate. All of us hear about the trends and the changes that are occurring in the world. New technologies are being invented, the climate is changing, and the social structures are evolving. You have seen it. This COVID is the biggest example of that. That sudden changes, and we were forced. Like I'll tell you if I want to go back a little. I have taken my last physical workshop on 15th of March. Okay, 15th of March of this year, and and I have so many workshops planned for the month of March and month of April for the design thinking and creative thinking, which normally I do conduct offline. And suddenly it changed from the 22nd of March. Things have gone. We went into the lockdown, and suddenly I had no idea how do I go next, and I have to find a different way to conduct the workshops, and that's where I try to find this Mentimeter to try to be more creative, more interactive with the people, right? So this things are changing so fast. So we have to accommodate around it, right? We will need to deal with these changes in our everyday life today. Okay, the rules are going to change. The rules are going to absolutely change, and we will need new habits to meet these challenges. What we know now will not be enough to address the future changes and challenges. And how we solve problems today will involve a lot more than just having more information. Okay, if you look at it in business, in work, in our life, one skill, if I want to look at one skill, will be the most important to our success today is our originality, or I call it ingenuity. Okay, now how this originality will come? Originality is nothing but the ability to be creative. Creative is nothing but to create something of our own, being an original, right? Rather than the business of a copy paste, right? A lot of we are very used to do that, right? I remember when I used to be in a college, I never used to do anything, right? I just took the note of the brightest student in the one and just simply copy it. We never put an effort, right? So that is the very common thing we used to do it. But now that is not enough, right? We have to be original. We have to be creative. So that is the most important skill in today's time, right? Creativity, again, now come to the creativity is not limited to the arts. Okay, there is a difference between the visual ability and creativity. A lot of people always confuse between the creativity, that I'm not a good painter, I cannot draw, I'm not a creative person, or I'm not a musician. but it's not art. Okay, some exceptionally good painters, they are very beautiful in painting, but they may not be a creative people, because what they do is they look at it and they paint it, right? Like they look at the portraits, like they look at your face and they paint it, or they look at the nature and they paint it. They are very good with the visual art, but that does not mean they are creative, because they don't imagine anything. They just represent the art in the form of what they see. However, some people claim that they are absolutely not creative, but they are exceptionally good with problem solving, with innovative ideas. Okay, so hence the point I'm trying to make is, we all are creative. We all are amazingly creative. It is only then we have to build that capability. We have to adapt certain habits. We have to adapt certain mindsets, and we just need to think consciously that, okay, what type of a creative thinking, or right, we have just to adapt to on a daily routine, right? And today, that is what I'm going to go with you today, that we will adapt it to, we will look at it different mindsets. What is really, when we call an art of creative thinking, what does art requires? Art requires certain mindsets, certain thought process, certain discipline, and that's how we're going to look at it, right? And we will try to adapt those habits, adapt those things with our creative thinking ability. Okay. Now let's come to the next question. Okay. When it comes to, hold on. Okay. If you are still on the menti.com, and this is the next question. What comes to your mind when you hear the word creativity? Just write it and submit, and you can write as many words you can. Okay. Just what comes to your mind? First thing comes to your mind when you hear the word creativity. What comes to your mind? Start writing. You are still on the menti.com. All right. Something new. Very good. Something new. What else? Fiction. Out of the box. Very nice. All right. All right. Let's see. Come on, more people. We are, how many people? How many of us are there? We are 58. Very good. Innovative. Okay. Innovative. All right. Curious, new, interesting, expression, something new, fiction, passionate. Very nice, very nice. Innovative still trumps. Okay. Very good. All right. Come on. Expressive, innovation, something new again. Okay, so majority of the people think innovative is the word, right? Imagination, different than normal, engaging. All right, very nice. Curiosity. Okay. Okay. Imagination. Okay. Imagination also comes as a lot of people guess as imagination. Very nice. Okay. 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 Very nice. A lot of good answers. Good answers. So I think a lot of people feel imagination and innovation is the majority of the people think. iPhone in the age of Nokia. I like that answer. Not a mainstream. Okay. That's a good one too. Okay. Perfect. All right. So we can, 33 people have already answered. Very nice. Very nice. Okay. Now let me stop sharing this screen, and let me go back to the presentation. Okay, so I have to do this, I guess. Okay, just give me 1 second. I'll share the presentation now. Okay, there you go. Can you see the presentation? Yes, I can. Yes. Okay. So now we talk about the art of creative thinking, right? So first we talk about is the mindset. Okay. So mindset of creative thinking. What do we require? How do we have to train the mindset? So I'm not going to do a lot of theories. Okay, I'm going to talk about a lot of stories and try to make you understand the whole concept, why it is so important, with a lot of examples. So I want you to correlate with that, and I want you to ask as many questions as you can. So you can simply raise your hand or put it in the chat box, and we will answer that. Okay. So the first is, be a beginner forever. Okay. That is the first mindset. Be a beginner. I call it a beginner's mindset. Now, what the beginner's mindset is, so I'll tell you a story. So last year, I was working with my team on creating one marketing campaign for one retail customer. So I do a lot of strategic consulting and with the creative ideas and everything. So my entire team, the marketing team, the research team, the sales, the strategic team, or the design team, I call it, the digital media and the social media team, my graphic designers, all were sitting, the engineers, the IT team, everybody was sitting together for the brainstorming. But nobody was able to come up with the uh, novel ideas. Everybody was just stuck with the limitations in their field, right? And they were just stuck. They could not move further, and they are not able to come up with those good, creative, imaginative ideas. I joined the team somewhere in the afternoon for the briefing that what happened, where we are, and what are the ideas, and let's discuss about it. And I understood that I need to change their gear because they are just still stuck at the gear one and not able to move further because they are stuck. And why they are stuck into the gear one? Because they are stuck in the past. They are stuck with their experiences. And their experience was taking a lead, right? Everybody was. So what I did was I simply switched their role, okay, and asked them to perform the other person's role. Like they all thought, and they all thought that I was stupid, right? They all were looking at me with a confusion, with a state of agony and frustration. That what the hell are you doing, right? But switching the role from their usual work, of course, I had to convince them for a while, but eventually, of course, they agreed. And but what happened was the fear of failure vanished because the weight of expectation have been lifted, right? When we are doing a job, we always wanted to prove ourselves. Like, for example, if I talk about the graphic designers, there is an expectation that he will perform a great graphic. There is a marketing guy whose job is that is what he's trained for. He's expected to do a good marketing campaign. Or a sales guy, he's expected to sell the product. But since their role was changed, nobody had that expectations. Nobody has to protect their reputations because they were supposed to be doing what they are not trained to do. Right? So they started playing around, and the new ideas have started popping up. New original ideas have started coming at the pouring. Make the beginner has a fresh perspective. This is what I wanted to. So I always call it this called a beginner's mindset. Now imagine your first day at your college. Okay, when you came for the very first day, think about this. You had no idea. You had no clue who are good people, who are good. So you are trying to be friends with everybody. You are trying to be nice to everybody. You are more open-minded and trying to get to know each other. Today, of course, you are more judgmental. You become because you know people, right? You know your friends. Even we have given the names to our friends also. Okay, so but on the day one, you are more observant. You are absolutely no judgmental. You are more open-minded. You are looking at everything from the beginner's mindset. So it's a beginner's mindset is very important to learn. Okay, so that it is important to avoid to become an expert or a specialist. Okay, an expert always refers to the past experience. When you become an expert of something, you always refer to the past experience, and whatever works in the past, normally you repeat, right? For example, if I have been working in the field since last 15 years, of course, whenever I'm working, whenever I come across a problem, I will always refer to my past experience. Whatever worked in the past, I will repeat. So they turn their knowledge, their experience into the perpetual rituals. Okay. So being a beginner's mindset always give you that freshness of perspective. So the first thing of the art of creative thinking is having the fresh perspective, having a beginner's. So I call it be a beginner forever. Always have a beginner's mindset. Okay. Next is don't be someone else. Okay. How many of you give me yes in the chat box if you have heard the brand called Chanel, fashion brand Chanel, Coco Chanel, or if you are a fan of that brand, right? Atman, Shachi, okay, perfect. No, okay. Now let me tell you the story of Chanel. Okay, Coco Chanel, she is a French designer. She says, in order to be irreplaceable, you must always be different. Now, from the beginning of her career, Chanel challenged the conventional thoughts. She didn't like the way, and I'm talking about the early 80s. Okay, she didn't like the way women were forced to be uncomfortable in order to look fashionable. She didn't like corsets, so she replaced them with a casual elegance and comfort. She was heavily attacked by the fashion media. Everybody was challenging her, everybody was criticizing her, but she was unrepentant. And she always says that luxury must be comfortable, otherwise, it is not luxury. Okay, her vision made her one of the most important figure today in the history of fashion. Okay, people laughed at the way she dressed in early days, but that was the secret of her success. Her, if you remember and if you follow the brand, her little black dress and trademark suit are the timeless designs that are still popular today, right? Like Chanel, and like Chanel, you have to make the most of your own uniqueness. Nobody else can draw from your childhood experience, your teenage experience, or your school days experience, or the experience you share with your parents, right? Ev- Now think about this. This is very beautiful actually. Everyone is searching for originality. We also searching for the originality. How many of you? How many of the time are we always say that ये तो copy है इसका, or this if you listen to the music, you always say this is the copy of this Korean music or this English music or the Arabian music or something like that. So we always say this is copy paste, right? Or this is not original. We always strive for original, correct? Right? How many of you really like original things, or you always look for the original? Give me yes. Give me yes if you original, right? Every one of us look for the originality, right? But ironically, think about this. It is right there in them, but most of us, most people are too busy being someone else. On the other side, creative people prepare to be themselves, right? If you're creative, you need to be ourselves, right? They make most of their experiences, whether good or bad. The advantage of being themselves is that they are original, right? If you strive to be someone else, right? We always like to we spend too much time. Think about this. We spend too much time of our lives not being who really we are, right? There are huge pressure on every one of us to be someone else, to live up to some others' expectations, to be a perfect parent, to be an obedient employee, to be a good student, to a selfless partner, or a high achieving son or a daughter. We lose the ability to be good at being ourselves, and we forget who we are. Okay, the creative people always be themselves. Okay, so this is second. Always, so don't be someone else. Be yourself. Okay, be self. Be who you are. To be successful, it's okay to be yourself. We all have our strengths. We all have our weaknesses. But the creative people accept those and use them in our own advantage. Like self knowledge will help you to understand. If you understand yourself, that will help you to be and nurture your individual approach and personality. Okay. So again, second point is, first point I'm going to repeat: be a beginner forever. Second point is, don't be someone else. Be yourself. Okay. Third point is, be a generator. Okay, this is beautiful. This is one of my favorite ones. Okay. How many of you have heard about the Robert De Niro, the Godfather? Have you seen the Godfather? Okay, perfect. Okay, do you like him, Robert De Niro? Yes, taxi driver, perfect. Okay, so let me tell you a story about the Robert De Niro. Robert De Niro did rounds of auditions like all actors do, right? Every actor struggles. He also struggled initially his days, but he realized that it was no good waiting for people to give him an opportunity or give him a break. He had to create one. So instead of chasing the films, instead of chasing the auditions, he started finding a book or a story, and he found one interesting book by Peter Savage called Raging Bull, and that he thought that it could be turned into a very good film, and him playing the lead role for that. Okay, so rather than chasing a role in a film, he started carrying that story and started persuading producers that this is the film I want to make it. This is the film I want to make it, and he started convincing producers. It was a story of a boxer called Jake LaMotta, and he found a producer. He convinced him, but the producer gave him a condition that the director will be Martin Scorsese. Okay, the Scorsese wasn't interested because that director wasn't interested because he was never liked boxing, and he thought that LaMotta is not a significant boxer, but the only talent he has was absorbing punishment. Okay, but the whole point is he pursued, so the De Niro pursued that director also and convinced him to create the film. But after that, and that Raging Bull became one of the most critically acclaimed film ever. And De Niro won the Academy Award for the best actor for that movie. To produce anything worthwhile, okay, you have to be proactive and generate it, and not sit around and wait. Okay, so now understand the gist of this. Most of the people, most of us, we sleepwalk through the life, right? I call it a sleepwalking through our entire life. We just never asking what are we doing, why are we doing, what really matters to us. We absorb the value of our culture, our parents, our friends, and accept them unquestioningly. Okay, the creative people don't accept; they challenge. They create an opportunity. They challenge this status quo, right? And if you also think about the latest, let's not talk about the Robert De Niro. Let's come to the present for a while. If you look at it, if you have read the story of Steve Jobs on an Apple or a Nike or a Amazon, everybody was a generator. Everybody had their own strong thought process. They have questioned the status quo from the beginning, that why it is like that, and they did not accept what came into their life, right? And so the principle applies to all of us, right? Do you think interdepartmental communication could be better where you are, or do you think the education system, or do you think this online studies what you are doing it could be much better? Then so stop criticizing and start for instigating a solution. If you want to be writer, start writing. Just when you come alive, when we are generating something, okay, which is worthwhile, the creativity drives us what matters to us. So I always say, doing what matters is what matters. Okay, it's very simple. I will repeat again. This is very important. Doing what matters is what matters. Okay, so be a generator. I'll go again. I'll repeat 3 points. Be a beginner forever. Don't be someone else. Be a generator. And fourth is, don't think about others, what others think about. Okay. Again, one more story. It's and this is one of my favorite stories. Okay. So the astrophysicist. How many of you are fan of Big Bang Theory? How many of you watch Big Bang Theory? Have you watched Big Bang Theory by any chance? Oh, okay. Do you love it? How many of you love the character of Sheldon and Raj? Yeah. Okay. Perfect. All right. So, all right. So okay. So I think you will be able to correlate now very well. Okay. So this is a story of an astrophysicist. The astrophysicist in the University of Chicago named Subramanian Chandrasekhar. He loved his subject. His ideas were so strange, though, that almost all other scientists did not accept him for years and years. They always challenge him, and they always find that Subramanian Chandrasekhar is a crazy guy. Okay. At the University of Chicago, he had scheduled a class to teach astrophysicists. Physicist in somewhere 80 miles from the main campus in the astrological observatory. Okay, and that was where he was planning to take a class that was 80 miles from his university or where he used to stay. Okay, but unfortunately, only 2 students signed up or registered for his class. It became a joke in the entire university, and all his colleagues were laughing at him that only 2 students have registered for his class. The university expected that similarly, if you can recall the people who have seen the Big Bang Theory, the nobody signed up for the Sheldon class. Do you remember that episode? Right. This is the exactly same situation. Only 2 students registered for that class. University expected that he will cancel the class since he has to travel 160 miles back and forth only for 2 students. But he did not cancel. But rather because he was enjoying his subject. He and 2 students threw ideas around. They were engrossed on their subjects and motivated by enjoyment of their ideas, creating new ways to describe the reality and the physics. It was the smallest class in the history of university education and was laughed and ridiculed by everyone at the university that time. But a few years later, both the students won the Nobel Prize for the physics, and the later Chandrasekhar himself also awarded with the Nobel Prize. And it became the most successful class in the history of the university. You know what? You know why? Because it is the only class where everyone in the class have won the Nobel Prize. Yeah, of course, there are only 3 people, but by numbers, it's 100% of the 100% of the people in that class have won the Nobel Prize in that class, and that was the most successful class in the history of education today. Okay, the whole point behind this story again is never distract by the views of others. Focus on what engages and inspires you. If it's not fun, there is no point of doing it. Okay, if it's not fun, there is no point of doing it. A revolutionary or a creative thinker who create totally new ideas are driven by their own interest. Okay, so don't think about what others. We are at so many times we do not or I have been practicing creative thinking since last 15 years now, and I have come across so many people who are just not showcasing their creativity because they have the fear of being judged by somebody else, right? So remove that block. Okay, don't think about what others think about. Okay, so this is the fourth point. Get into what you are into. That was the last point before we move into something very interesting and different. So these are the few mindsets, 5 mindset I wanted to ensure that you understand it to become, because these once you make these things as your habit, then you will cultivate this art of creative thinking. Creative thinking has nothing to do with the specialized skills. We already have the skills. It's just a mindset and certain habits we have to create it for us and make it our routine. Okay, so get into what you are into. So and I'll try to explain each and every point with a story so you can correlate very well. Okay, so I was working for a hospital for a long time, and that was from 2015 to not 2015 to 2014 to 2016. And I was given a task to craft an experience for the patients. Excuse me. Given a task to experience for the patients. I have started the discussion about the. What I did was I started the discussion about the project with my team. First thing my team did was they got all the feedback from the patients over the past years and started identifying challenges or the problems they were facing. The problem were majorly the process, time, and individual challenges. We talked to the patient because see, we were given a task to craft an experience, a good experience for the patient. So the patient comes to the hospital till the patient goes out of the hospital. The entire experience of the patient has to be very good. That was the task we were given. Okay, so we had to study, right? We had to study the challenges with the patients, that okay, where the patient goes and what they do, and where there are challenges, where there is a problem in the hospital, so we can create a solution for that. We talk to the patient. We have even observed them in each department for days and days. Okay, we simply stand there, we observe the patients. Okay, what are the challenges they are facing? Okay, but none of them making sense as a whole set as a whole set for the patients. It's not working. We brainstorm for a while, but then we realize that we need to dig deeper into the problem rather than focusing on them from the outside world. Right? So we were observing, we are looking at the feedbacks, we are talking to the patients. So we are getting the perspective, but we are not feeling it, right? So what we did is we became the patient for each department and actually felt the experience of the hospitality of the as well as the treatment standards and protocols while talking to customer care and nursing staff. They were expressing different challenges from their end. So we became a customer care for a few days. We have even assisted nursing staff for over almost 2 weeks and understand their side of the story. Our entire perspective changed. Okay, so when we're looking at and observing from the outside, things were very okay. Things were not making sense, of course, but they were okay. But the moment we became the patient ourselves, the entire perspective changed. Okay, and after getting into their lives, while we were brainstorming, new ideas have started emerging because we were overlooking so many things earlier, which started to come to our notice now. The whole point again in behind the story is whatever you're working, get right into it. Okay, be the subject of your project. The creative thinkers don't look things from the outside, but they look things from the inside, right? So think about this. Imagine if your subject is a cup. Okay, simply a cup. This let's a cup. Okay, to be think about it, how you feel to be picked up by someone, to have boiled water poured into you, to smell like a coffee, or how do you feel to be put into a dishwasher, or to be scratched or scraped off. The different perspective will start emerge, right? So all these creative writers, they get into the subject and be the subject. Okay, so get into what you are into, be the subject of and try to experience the same thing. And so the new ideas and new creativity will and originality, because your perspective will change, right? So this is again, these are the few rules. These are very important for to understand. And once this becomes our habit, I'll just repeat it once again because these are very important. And if you really want to enhance your creative thinking process, these are not difficult. These are very easy to actually absorb. It's be a beginner forever. Okay, number one. Number two is don't be someone else. Of course. Number three is be a generator. Number four, don't think about what others think about. And number five is get into what you are into. Okay? Clear? Okay, give me yes if it makes sense. Give me yes.
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Perfect. Now we come to another interesting juncture. Okay. Now I want the types of creative thinking. Okay, there are different types of creative thinking. Okay, and we just have to understand what are the different types. So first type is okay. So I'm going to shift a little bit here because I wanted to. It's called a convergent thinking. Now first let's understand it, and we will do more engaging. Okay, so I don't want to bore you with a lot of theories. I want you to actually do it. Okay, so first let's understand what convergent thinking is. Convergent thinking is simply converging multiple ideas to the one. Okay, so you have so many things, different things, and you converge into one. So you can think about it's like a putting a puzzle pieces together. Okay, where you have to look at many different pieces and how they combine and create something absolutely new and beautiful. Okay, for example, I'm sure you have many novel idea floating around in your head. Think about how can you combine those and converge to a completely different idea, or how can you use your existing resources to create something absolutely different to solve challenges you may be facing today. Okay, this type of thinking is called a convergent thinking. Now let's do one more activity. Let's make it more interactive, and let's see how do you converge. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing this and I'm going to share another screen to you guys. Just give me 1 second. Let me see how I'm going to do that. Okay, start. Okay, read this. All right, where am I? Here. Share my screen. Okay. Okay, can you see this? Okay, so I want you to. Okay, so this is one. Hold on a second. Okay, okay. Draw an alien. Draw an alien. I have. Okay, go to app.pickles.com from your phone. Okay, go to app.pickles.com and enter this code 3FXE5. Okay, this is going to be fun. Okay, and so go to app dot. You will see this on the screen. App.pickles.com. Enter 3FXE5. Join alien. Actually, this is the example I have. I have missed this. This is the divergent thinking, but we'll do this activity first. Okay, I'll explain it to you. Okay. So, okay, I can see people are started drawing. Very nice. Draw an alien. Okay, perfect. Very nice. Okay, I can see a lot of good aliens are coming. Okay, I'm going to give you 2 more minutes before we shift to the next one. Okay. Meanwhile, you draw it. I'm also going to explain it because I think in this I have skipped I have interchanged the sequences. So before I explain this, I will talk about the divergent thinking. So we talked about the convergent thinking, where we actually look at different pieces and combine together. Divergent thinking is exactly opposite, where we have to break things into different and look at the individual pieces, right? Breaking it, the whole object, and look at the individual pieces. That is called the divergent thinking. Okay, all is also called the functional fixedness. Okay, so now if you look at it, now look at observe these aliens what people have drawn. Majority of the aliens are in the similar in structure. Okay, for example, every alien has a head. Every alien has 2 hands. Majority of the aliens has 2 hands, 2 legs, a body, a symmetrical body. So there is a symmetricity in it, right? A symmetricity in the entire alien. Like if you look at it, majority of the alien goes into. However, nobody have seen alien. How alien looks like. Nobody knows. None of us know. None of us have ever seen the alien. Okay, what we have seen very similar is the human being, right? So we have seen alien in the storybooks or in the movies or so we have something in our mind based on certain visual aspects what we have seen it. So we are just trying to create the same thing. Alien also has the face. Alien also have a body. Will have 2 hands. They will have 2 legs. So we are going with a. So we have never questioned the basic that why do I require a hand? What does hand do? Okay, what if I don't have a hand? How do I do a job of a hand using the different ways? So I'm breaking the entire body parts and start asking a single question of an individual objects. Like if you look at it, every alien has an eyes. Okay, think about why do now look at this particular alien. It's on the second last row and then the second guy. Okay, there's an alien and who's coming out of this. There is a spaceship right next to it. It has an eye, it has a nose, it has a hands, body, leg. It's very similar, look like a human. Who said that, right? But we have seen the human, so we think that alien also looks very similar. We have never started questioning the basic. Okay, the moment you start questioning that, why do I require an eye? What does an eye do? Eyes are important for the see to see something. Okay, what if I don't have an eye? What happens if I see? Okay, I can able to observe things. What is the different way to do it? If I don't have an eye, how I'm going to accomplish the same subjects? So moment you start breaking things and start rethinking about each, right? This is called the divergent thinking. Breaking the status quo, breaking the objects into the small pieces and started questioning the individual pieces. That is called the divergent thinking. Make sense? Right? Okay. And creative thinking is very important. In the art of creative thinking, it is very important to look at each objects and start seeing in a different perspective. Okay, this is very make sense. Okay, give me yes if you have understood this concept. Divergent thinking. Give me yes in the chat box. Okay, perfect. Perfect. Now I'm going to finish that activity and we will move to, hold on a second. Yes. Now we will go to the next activity. Yes. Okay. Imagine a superhero. Now this is the activity of a convergent thinking. Okay. Convergent thinking. We are coming back to the point number 1. Convergent thinking. Imagine if you are a superhero. Okay. What would your powers be? And give yourself a name. Okay, I want you to draw, or you can write it also, or you can give yourself a name. What would be your power? Imagine if you're a superhero, and then what would your powers be? And give yourself a name. Okay. Let's see what comes out. Devil. Somebody wants to become a devil. What will be your superpower? You have to write that. Now think about this. Now I want you to think about super speed. Okay, so super speed. Go to the pickles and do it, Navami. I think that's the fun part. Devil, Lucifer, you want to. Now think about this. Can you, majority of the people, or have you think, if you are a fan of a superhero movie, you might be able to want a superpower from a lot of people. Like you might want a strength from a Hulk. You want a speed from a what was that? I forgot the name. That speedy guy. What was his name?
Flash.
Flash. There you go, Flash. So you want a speed like a Flash. You want a strength like a Hulk. You want a technology like a Batman or an Iron Man or something like that. So you start combining, right? Start combining those things and give yourself a new name. Okay, so that is called a convergent thinking, right? You are taking different objects and you are combining it to create something new, which already exists. Like, okay, yeah, the Flash, I got it. So, right? So you got the idea about what the convergent thinking is all about? Okay, give me yes if you have understood the convergent thinking.
Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so this is what the. Did you have fun doing this? Did you have fun? Give me yes if you had fun doing pickles.
Yes, sir.
All right, perfect. Okay, I can see a lot of good activities actually. I'm already okay. Very nice. No people desires. You want to be an insider. Mind control. Very nice. Hulk and the Beast. Okay. All right. Perfect. Let me end this now, and I will share these paintings with you. Okay. So you have it. So you can even publish it. So I'll share it. So now I want let me stop sharing this again, and again share the. There you go. Okay, so we understood the convergent thinking. We talked about the divergent thinking also. Now let's talk about the aesthetic thinking. The aesthetic thinking is a third type of a creative thinking. This aesthetic thinking is as the word itself means. This is purely focuses on how objects or ideas look. Okay, we use this type of thinking when we want to look at closely at how each object appears, or imagine what would happen if the certain visual attributes changes. Now imagine your day, right? For example, now you have let's assume that whatever the superpower you wanted to be with your new name you are given, you have those powers, you have that name. Okay, for example, there was somebody who is a super seeders or something like that. Okay, imagine that you are a super seeder. Let me open up the name. I want to see who was that. Super speed and Navwani. Let's say Navwani, you are a super speed. Okay, what would your day look like? What your clothing, what your wardrobe gonna look like? What happens to your daily routine? Now start imagining your daily routine. What would happen early in the morning? Okay, how your entire day is going to change. What will happen to your clothes? What will happen to your bed? Or what would happen to your daily routine? Where would you go and study? See, entire aesthetics changes, entire looks changes, entire uh, the visual of that entire experience changes if you change one thing, right? So now when you into the field of creative thinking, when we come up with an idea, when we emerge some new ideas, then we also have to think about how it looks. Okay, so we then start looking into the day-to-day life, that how it affects those changes, the changes that we are trying to make, how it's our daily routine, right? So why it is so important that because we tend to fall into our routine very easily. Okay, day in and day out we do say think more or less the same things. If you observe everything, we lose sight of how each small pieces of whole affects, if we change the small piece, affects the entire outcome. Okay, it is easy to become overly familiar with the things we are used to it. Okay, think about you are coming to the colleges wearing the super speed dress, or a Hulk dress, and what happens? What would your professor say? What would your teachers going to say? What would your students or colleagues going to say? People going to look at you, right? And how you're going to react to it. Okay, so think about those things that will emerge to entire story and entire different perspective, right? And this is to spur your creativity. When you want to spur your creativity, whenever we want to do it, something like that, I always give my team a change of something. I change something and I ask them to imagine the scenario. What happens if we change this? What happens if we change the color of this? What happens if we make this big? Suddenly imagine my hand, instead of a normal human being, I suddenly become a huge Hulk. What happens? Or suddenly I start wearing I start wearing a simple, not very imaginative, simply. So normally I'm in a casual dress. Suddenly I start wearing kurta pajama and come to office. What happens to them? Okay, people will be looking at me with curiosity that what happened to this guy? Why he's wearing kurta pajama? And so the entire visual changes, right? So this changes is called an aesthetic thinking. Okay, last is emergent thinking. Emergent thinking, and this is the last thing, and then we will open up to the question answers, because I also wanted to get your feedback. What do you think? What are the question answers you have, and everything? Emergent thinking is a natural process which we are most familiar with it. We just don't know it. It is called emergent thinking. It is the most common type of creativity that you are familiar, because it is what happens when we daydream, okay, or go for a walk, or a sleeping, or sitting, and we started daydreaming, like if for example, how many of you give me yes and give me an honest answer? Okay, it's okay, it's nothing funny around in this. Hold on a second. Let me open up the chat box again. If you have looked at the after looking at, or anything, any movie, or I'm just taking one as an example, or after looking at the movie Bahubali, for example, you started daydreaming, what happens if I'm a Bahubali? I will do this, I'll do this, and suddenly you go into the fantasy world and portray you are there, and you daydream. And how many of you daydream? How many of you daydream? Harry Potter, yes, all the time, yes, yes, right? This is called the emergent thinking. Okay, suddenly you get that aha moment, like aha, I've got it. It's just like, what happens to this, right? So those type of thinking, which is the typically sudden movements you have, right? That is called the emergent thinking. Your daydreams. These typically are very important thinking. If you start putting those into the paper, when you start documenting it and identify when those everybody has a trait. Everybody has a trait. Like somebody is while sleeping, they could not sleep late night, and they start daydreaming while they are sleeping, or I don't know, while they are actually not 100% asleep, but they try to sleep. That time, these kind of daydream comes. Somebody is daydream while they are walking, or while they are sitting in the morning having a cup of coffee. Everybody has a time. Now think about this. Observe this or think consciously. When is your time? Like for me, I'll tell you, my daydream time is when I'm doing the most boring task. If I don't like to do something, I always so while doing that, I daydream. Like like if I were to wash my utensils or something like that, or something which is I'm absolutely not interested in doing that, right? That time I daydream a lot. So normally, whenever I wanted to create something good, creative thought process, I want to churn out the different ideas. I take a task which is very boring for me. So my mind is off late and try to identify that, okay, I'm not enjoying. What should I do to enjoy? Actually, so that is my trigger point of emergent thinking. Give me your trigger point of emergent thinking if you can able to observe. Okay, you can write it down in the chat box. What is your emergent thinking point? Majority of the people do think when they walk. That is very common. While they sit, or they have tea or coffee in the morning, right? Those are the daydream timings. Same boring meetings, okay. Bathroom maybe, yeah. Bathroom is a very common, yes, of course. At night, if I'm done with all my activity, yeah, that's a daydream time for coffee, right? Now, now what are the simple traits of the emergent thinking? I'll tell you. For example, I'll give you one example. A 3 years old, don't have to deal with the same rules and realities like we do, right? Now, because of that, children tend to be more imaginative or more creative with their ideas. They see possibilities where the rest of us see rules or regulations or boundaries or impossibilities. Okay, you're perfectly painted. Think about your perfectly painted room wall that you should not be touching it. A 3-year-old will see as a blank canvas. Okay. And for the same reason, it is important to make yourself, so that is the same reason, it is important to make yourself free from all those boundaries and let the imagination or creativity flow uncontrollably and be unafraid of trying new things. And that only happens when your that trigger activity happens. Like, okay, can somebody put on mute? Okay.
I would like to request anyone who is not on mute, please mute yourself.
Okay. Okay. So to free ourselves from all the boundaries and let the uncontrollable creativity flow and are unafraid of trying new things, that trigger point is very important, right? Like as I said, what and for everyone the trigger is different. Like somebody can do imaginations with uncontrollable, unflowing, imagination is while playing, while at the night, while sitting in the bathroom or boring at meetings. Like I also have, like when I'm doing a boring task, it's my that moment. Okay, so that is an emergent thinking. So these are the different types of thinking. Okay, the different types of thinking. So let me, yeah, and so, as I said, there are 5 rules I have given. Okay, these are the new. Those are nothing but the new rules, but these are something which is, if you want to explore, start exploring your creative instinct. Start taking those as a habit. Okay, think and practice consciously to be creative, because every one of us are creative. It is all about doing it. Emergent thinking, Vivek, emergent thinking every time. Yeah, I can totally imagine. I was also doing emergent thinking every time when I was in college. So yeah, I can totally get it. So, perfect. Sounds good. So yeah, thank you very much. And now I'm open to questions. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask me, and we will discuss it. And or you can also give me one best thing you liked, you enjoyed, or something something you want to share it with all of us. Your creative instinct. Anybody has a questions? Anything? We can. I'm open to. Okay, can you make someone think creatively? Of course, of course. There are a lot of things. There are a lot of things we do it as I said, right? In a lot of activities, like if my team was not able to think creatively, I simply changed their roles and asked them to do something absolutely different. So my job, my role is to make people think creative. Okay, and a lot of time I need to trigger those creative instincts, because everyone is creative. You are also creative, Arvind, yeah. So Arvind, you are also creative. Okay. Only thing is you need to be triggered, and you need to sometimes practice consciously. Of course, when I'm trying to do it, but if you don't keep the open mind, the first rule, the beginner's mindset, be the beginner forever. Okay, if you don't keep that mindset and you keep like, kya jo karna hai, ukhad le, main nahi creative hone wala, then I cannot do anything, right? You have to be open minded to practice it, right? So that's, of course, you can be creative. I liked all the activities. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Confused between to do a job for finance or go for a startup. Okay. Be yourself. Don't be someone else. See, all the answers are already there in the be. What do you enjoy the most, right? Now, if you want to create your own startup, do a startup. Be an entrepreneur. If you're enjoying the numbers, if you're enjoying the finance, don't go to finance because you get a good job. Don't go to finance because it pays a good money. Do what interests you the most, right? That is very important. Okay? Don't be someone else. Be yourself. Okay? Every question's answers is already there. Okay? Any other questions? Best way to pitch your idea for a startup in an innovative way. Talk about, create a story. Okay, create a story. Okay, why it is important. Don't communicate your idea. Communicate the problem and try to solve that problem. That this is the problem and this is the problem. I have solved it. Okay, that is the best way to pitch your idea. Okay. What are the basic activities we can practice to be more creative thinker? Convergent, divergent, all these things. Try to create something new. So for example, let's say, I know you are already grown-up kids, you are already in the college, but one thing I do it with my daughter. My daughter is 7 years, okay? She's in the second standard. What I do is every day I give him one topic. Okay, like for example, and she loves princess. Okay, she loves princess. She's a very girly daughter, like the pink color. She loves pink color. She loves princess and those type. So I give him one day. So one day I give him so my daughter's name is Naisha, right? So I give him the Naisha and a Sleeping Beauty. Okay, and she has to write a story about the Sleeping Beauty and involving her also in the story. One day I give her Naisha and Aladdin, or one day I give Naisha and a Frozen, or right. So I ask her to create her own story using these different characters, or Naisha in the mountain, or something. She creates her own story, and that's where she practices. Okay, first identify what you love to do. Okay, and then start doing this. Start doing it. Okay. What is the next question? Innovation and creativity are often used interchangeably. Is innovation synonymous to creativity? No. Innovation is more about solving the problem. Okay. There is a fine difference. Innovation is about solving the problem in a creative manner. So creativity is an approach. Innovation is a solution. Okay. how to convince people to understand your creativity. You don't have to convince people. Okay, you don't even try to convince people. Creativity is for your own self. So that is the worst thing to do, is to convince people that you are creative. Okay, where to start if I want to change my career at a later stage? Where to start if I want to change my? You can change your career at any stage in your life, and you are too early to ask that questions because you are still in the college. So, if a guy at the age of 50 asks me this question, then yes, makes sense. But you're good, man. Don't worry. How to change creative ideas into a tangible assets? First, have an idea. Okay, it's a very subjective questions. Okay, tangible assets is, again, it's a thought process. Again, your creativity comes into the picture. So first, have an idea. It's very subjective. So there is no fixed answer to this. Everyone have unique idea, but not live the life need to live. So what to do? Everyone has a unique idea to change our dream into reality. Besides effort, nothing. Start doing it. Okay, start doing it today. Don't even think about it. Don't even try to find an answer that how do I start. Just start, whatever it is. Let it fail. If you fail, that's okay. Failure happens. When I started my company, everybody was telling me, Rohan, you're stupid. Nobody is going to take your ideas, or nobody wants to be creative thinker. What is your field? Is creative thinking consultant. What is this? I've never heard that job before. My father still doesn't understand what I do. Okay, so my mother doesn't understand. If anybody asks my father, what does your son do? He said, I don't know, some creative or some design. He does, but he doesn't come for me for money, so I'm okay. Okay, so don't worry about what people say. Just do it. Just do it. Just start. Okay. All right, so great cinema reference. Okay, I love those movies. So thank you. I try to create the story so it makes you help understand better. So perfect. I think. Hold on. Let me stop my share my screens and come to the main page. Okay. Perfect. I hope I have answered all your questions. I might have a lot of questions. If I might have missed anything, you can simply just ask me right now, or we can close it.
I don't think any questions are missed, sir.
Mostly right? Okay.
Yeah, everything is covered. Yes.
All right. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir, for the lovely
All right.
presentation, and it was very informative. We learned a lot.
Right.
It was very insightful.
All right.
Thank you, everyone present here.
All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Take care, guys. Take care.